Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another round of sound. This is the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown. I'm Bob Pompeani. As always, we have a lot to talk about, including a little controversy now at college football with LSU. We'll get into that. We also talk about the Pirates, who have flatlined out in LA, and their season, for all intents and purposes, is over. But the #1 topic tonight on the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown will be the Steelers and what they do in a week from now when they have to cut down to 53. Here is your panel tonight. We have with me Mark Kaboly from the Pat McAfee Show. Below him, it's Ray Fittipaldo, Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. Does a great job covering the Steelers. Both of those gentlemen do. And to his left, right, wherever you're looking at this, below me, it's Andrew Fillipponi from the PM team. Gents, we have a lot to get into, but I want to start with, first, Ray, your thoughts on the quarterback play and how it now moves on with a week left to make these decisions. 3 quarterbacks, 4 quarterbacks. It's a debate that continues to go on after 2 really bad performances this past week. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, really night and day difference from the Packers game to the Jets game, Bob. I think they are trending towards keeping 4 quarterbacks. They like the 2 young guys. I think they want to continue to work with them. And they really like Mason Rudolph. You've heard Mike McCarthy talk at length about Mason this summer. I think they would have to be bowled over, probably with a mid-round pick to trade Mason Rudolph. If it's just a 6th or 7th rounder, I think they keep him, and I think they keep 4 quarterbacks.
Mark, what do you think?
Well, I think, first of all, I think people were a little bit too much praise of Howard 2 weeks ago and a little bit too hard on him this past week. What he is what he is. He's a quarterback in progress. He needs reps. He needs to go out there and play, and you're not going to really see much out of him in this short span. I mean, this would be a little bit different in my eyes if he had all of last year, then he came and performed like he did so far in the camp and in preseason. I think you pretty much have to keep him if you can. I mean, I guess I'm contradicting myself here, but I think you pretty much do have to keep him unless there's some kind of injury that forces them a tough roster decision and move him on, because he could still be a solid number 2. He could be a potential number 1 if you give him some time and some reps. I mean,
you don't actually believe that.
Yes, I do.
No, you do not.
I do believe he could be a solid number 2 in this league for a decade.
No, that is not what I'm saying you don't believe. You just said you think he could be a number 1 someday, and I know you do not, Mark. You do not think that. Time out. I'm calling a timeout here. You do not feel that way.
Saved by the bell?
You do not think he's eventually going to be a starting NFL quarterback. There's 0 evidence to support that.
No, I understand that. There's no evidence until there is evidence. But the bottom line is we're glossing over everything here. That's solid number 2 quarterback, right? And I'll take that victory lap now, and I'll take the Pirates' victory lap a little bit later. But you go ahead, Andrew.
Well, look, I've said this for a long time. He is the most overhyped, I'm talking about Will Howard, 6th-round pick in the history of the NFL. No team has ever spoken more loudly and favorably of a 6th-round pick. A 6th-round pick is usually the guy that the organization talks down because they want the late-round pick to be seen and not heard and have to prove himself before he actually gets plaudits from the organization. This guy was being talked about when Mike Tomlin. It's going to be so weird 5 years from now when we go back and we hear Mike Tomlin exit talk and Will Howard got shoehorned in there like he was some answer to what ailed the Steelers. He's not, okay? The entire league passed on this guy over 100 times. He had a great end to his college career. He's probably at best what Mark said, which is a backup quarterback. And I think you can keep 4, like Dulac has reported, by putting him on the practice squad. Who the heck, with so many teams now only keeping 2 guys, who is going to sign Will Howard off the Steelers practice squad and guarantee him a roster spot? I don't see it happening.
Right. That's interesting. I want to get into another topic that pertains to quarterbacks, and that would be offensive line, because you do have a 42, soon-to-be 43-year-old quarterback who's going to be your starter. And from what I've seen, that offensive line has a lot more work to do. I know there's an injury to Maxi Honachor, but, man, the right side looks to be a big problem at this point. How do you see that progressing here? Yeah,
listen, it's not progressing well. They tried to run the ball more in this game against the Jets. They concentrated on that, and it wasn't very good. The pass pro now has been an issue in both weeks. So, to me, they have a lot of work to do. They have a lot to clean up here in the next 3 weeks. I think the big story this camp is if Maxi Honachor was healthy, he would probably be the starter right now. Dylan Cook has had an okay camp, but he's left the door open. and the Onachor's injury just really.
Ray, I want to ask you and Mark a question about what you're saying.
Yeah.
So many things have been labeled by both of you guys, and I get it, as it's about winning right now. You keep Mason Rudolph because if Aaron Rodgers goes down, you're trying to win the game in front of you. If you were going to do that for 2026, why not keep McCormick and Fautanu on the right side? Cook played the left side last year. Anderson played the left side, and Frazier's been your center. You'd have really zero adjustments going on. Everybody would be in a comfortable spot. They made a decision with their offensive line that I think probably makes the most sense long term. But I think it's going to hurt them at the start of this season because you've got basically everybody but Frazier trying to learn a new position. And that doesn't make sense for a 42-year-old Aaron Rodgers, in my opinion, Mark.
Well, first of all, Fautanu played left tackle in college. Mason McCormick played all left guard in college. Dylan Cook, I've asked him a number of times about right and left, and he says, man, that's our job. That's not a big deal either. So I think we put a little bit too much emphasis on it. Those guys have played there. As for the offensive line.
Mark! McCarthy said last night that moving a guy left to right and back and forth doesn't help him. He was talking about Broderick Jones, I think, when he said that, but come on now.
I still don't believe it. Everybody I ever talked to says it's not a big deal. I've
Dan Moore
every
said that?
single one of those offensive linemen say I've played here so many times before. It's not a big deal. It's something. This is where I'm getting to my next point at. I'm blaming some of the unevenness of this play on Mike McCarthy because you know why? He's made that decision, but now he's bumping back and forth. I think that was uncalled for what he did in that first 4 series the other day of switching in Anderson and Cook for Jones and Hoffman. I think he has to make a decision on the top 5 right now. It probably should have been probably a week ago, and let those guys have a month together of snap after snap after rep after rep. And I think that's the way they should move now. They need to make that decision absolutely right now, and I don't think he has.
All right.
And I think that's been the big issue.
One question for you, Ray, and then no comments. We're going to go to break, but that would be Broderick Jones since you guys brought him up. He doesn't look like the kind of guy that you expected when you got number 1, 14th overall. What do you do with him? I guess he has to make the team, but is he capable of doing what he once did?
Yeah, he probably has the most snaps of anyone on this football team in the first 2 preseason games. The shame of it is, Bob, if they're trying to showcase him for a trade, he now has no trade value. 2 sacks given up against the Jets. You're right, they probably do have to keep him and hope he gets better throughout the season.
We have a lot more to get into. When we come back, we're going to talk about the receivers. How much of those interceptions by Will Howard was on Roman Wilson, and what is his status on this team as we try to look ahead to the 53-man roster and Joey Porter Jr., his future? We'll talk about it next, right here on the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown. A week from tonight, we're going to know who's on the Steeler 53-man roster. They're going to make a lot of moves. They made one today. Laith Marjan, who had no shot of making this team, was eventually said goodbye, and that was expected. That's an easy one. There are tougher ones to come. Mark, I want to ask you about this one. Roman Wilson, if they're going to keep 6 receivers, he's going to be one of them. But how much of what we saw from Will Howard was on him, on both of them, and does he have a secure roster spot at this point?
Well, I think absolutely he has a secure roster spot. I think he's pushing to be that number 3. I think him and Bernard is probably going to split action there, but I don't blame a ton of it on him. We'll never really know truthfully. Nobody will ever tell us for sure whose fault it was. Okay, maybe he should have flattened his one route out a little bit more. You know what shouldn't happen? Will Howard should not have been faked into that throw and throw it late and throw it to where he did too. So I'm putting about 90% blame on Will Howard on that one, maybe a little bit less that on the second interception to Roman Wilson. Yeah, he could have ran a better route, but you know what? I don't know why we're sitting here trying to put blame on Roman Wilson just because he struggled the last couple of years. I don't think that was 100% his fault, and I'd put that on the quarterback myself.
I think we're putting blame on Roman Wilson because of what Mike McCarthy said after the game, Mark.
I don't think you wanted to throw the quarterback under the bus.
So you make it sound like the wide receiver had a lot to do with the play? I mean, that's how it came across to me. He made it sound like it was 50-50, maybe more so, Roman Wilson. The bottom line with Roman Wilson is, at what point do we stop praising him for what he does in July practices in front of kids asking for autographs in Latrobe and actually see him show up in games that count? All right, and I still need to be convinced that Aaron Rodgers trusts the guy. He can wax rhapsodic and poetic all he wants. this time of year and say it's a new Roman Wilson. When the lights come on and there's 68,000 people there in a couple Sundays, what is the guy going to do? Because I still think wide receiver 3 is a huge question mark on this team because historically, and you can even look up Devontae Adams stats, Aaron Rodgers does not like throwing the ball to rookie wide receivers. So Jeremy Bernard would have to buck that trend, and they have to teach an old dog new tricks in year 22 or whatever it is. So I've got questions about wide receiver 3, but then again, Ray, it's better to have questions about wide receiver 3 than wide receiver 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which is what we had last year.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the issue I have with Roman Wilson is I wanted to see more production in the preseason games. I could watch practice. I could tell he's doing really well, but the bottom line is he hasn't really produced in any NFL game, and that's what I wanted to see during this preseason. So maybe there is an opportunity for Jeremy Bernard to get more snaps, but you're right, Andrew. He has to win the trust of the quarterback, and right now, for better or worse, Roman Wilson is that guy who has Aaron Rodgers' trust.
Another interesting thing coming up here, Pony, is when you look at their 53 men, if you're going to keep 4 quarterbacks, if that's the plan, somebody else is going to have to go in another position. Caleb Johnson's one of those guys on the bubble as well. Do they keep just 2 running backs and Nowakowski, or what happens? If it's not him, who else loses a spot because of 4 quarterbacks?
Yeah, the running back rotation these 2 games has been hard to predict and figure out. Travis Homer started the game against the Packers that you called, Bob, and then he was MIA as far as offensive football went in this game this past Friday. So how does that affect it? They're only going to keep 2 real running backs and a fullback? That'd be really, really thin depth at running back. I guess you could try to sneak Lou Nichols or Caleb Johnson onto your practice squad, but still, I can't remember many times the Steelers only had 2 true running backs on their team to start the season. I mean, Mark's been all over this. You know, is Caden Weegan really a lock to make the team? He's a 4th-round pick. Usually 4th-rounders make it, but you fumble the ball. He had, apparently, his training camp practices at wide receiver have not been really that impressive. And Max Hurlman goes out there and outplays him pretty much in every preseason game, with the exception of that long 79-yard catch, which was a huge one. So, I don't know. There are questions abound. If you do keep 4 quarterbacks, the trickle-down effect at other positions.
Honestly, I think you're going to be able to earn some, get some space with the roster, with some people going on the IR, wink, wink, nod, nod, and I'm not even talking about the quarterbacks right here. So I think that will be able to open up a couple spots as well. I would only go with 2 running backs right now. I mean, you got to take advantage of that practice squad rule where you can, first of all, put 16 guys on and call 3 up. I mean, if you're going to put Caleb Johnson on there on the active roster, you're just worried that somebody else is going to take him right now. And Lou Nichols is the same way. So I would just go with 2. And as for Weegan, what were they expecting? He had no receiving stats at all at Iowa. How are they expecting to come in here and within a couple of months be a viable 3, 4, or whatever, 4 or 5 receiver? I think that's just a lack of thought going into this right now. So he has to be on. He's going to play 7 snaps a game, and that's what we said 4 months ago when they drafted him. So that's where we're at.
Ray?
Yeah, I think the receiver depth is a big issue when you look at this 53-man roster. You are set 1 through 4. It's going to be Bernard and Wilson 3, 4. You're counting on 2 special teamers in Weegan and Ben Skoranek to eat up a couple of snaps a game. If there is an injury to one of the top 4, that is one position where Omar Khan might have to go out and address during the season.
Coming up later, we're going to talk about Joey Porter Jr. still out, no contract. What's going to happen there? But next, the Pirates flatlined this weekend. Their season appears to be over. We're going to talk about it next right here on the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown. Don't go away. All right, welcome back. Talking about the Pirates. Got shut out today. They lost all 3. They had a chance to win the first 2. They didn't. They're 8.5 out. Pony, if it's not a flatline situation, what exactly is it?
Another lost season, another year of Ben Cherington where there were some expectations this year more than others because of the offseason moves, and we're going to get the same results. So, yes, Mark, you can get out of your chair and start running around that brand-new studio and celebrating and say, I told you so, because it is. It's going to happen again. 7 years with Ben Cherington, no winning seasons. He's only had 1 winning season in his entire career as a general manager, screwed up the rotation, fired a pitching coach who was good, left himself vulnerable in the bullpen. You can go on and on and on with this guy, and Again, another season in which the Pirates, after the All-Star break, hit complete rock bottom, and they might not even get to 76 wins, which is the most they've had in the Cherington era.
And you didn't even mention starting pitching, how it really just totally imploded in front of their eyes.
Well, you know, Bob, where I thought this season was lost was when he waited so long to fix the bullpen. When you're losing 12, 13, 14, 15 games where you look back and say, you probably should have won those games. That's going to come back and haunt you, and I think that's what happened right now. And that's, who else should you blame it on other than Cherington right now? It's just a shame here that they're having another one of these collapses near the end of the season when everything looks so promising throughout. This is probably one of the worst seasons they've had in terms of people actually believed that this was the team.
Except you.
And they ripped your heart out once again.
Well, he has to see it before he believes it, right, Ray?
You have to.
And I agree with that. But I thought we were seeing it. They were in this wild card position number 3 just a few weeks ago, and then they lose 7 of 8 series, and Ray was just not good. So what do you? I mean, I don't even know what you do with Paul Skeens now for the rest of the year, Ray.
Shut them all down.
To me, if Paul Skeens is healthy, and that's what we have to find out, let him figure it out. I mean, what's he going to do? Shut it down, and then he has to think about it all offseason? Maybe there are things that he could work on over this final 3 or 4 starts that can get him on the right track for next season. But I want to talk about the offense. 14 shutouts now. It's been a boom or bust offense all season. A lot of busts since the All-Star break, and that's kind of been the untold story here in July and August.
Andrew, real quick, do they bring back Cherington and Kelly? One of the two? What do you think will happen?
I think so, because we don't know how much baseball there's going to be next year. And I think they're going to get a stay of execution, because what I don't think the ownership of the Pirates wants to do is fire those guys with years left on their contract, pay them not to work, and then hire new people and pay them not to work too, because there are no games. Yeah, so I think those guys will be back.
Bob, they got a built-in excuse too. They all have to say is, man, we were injured so bad, man. We were on the right track, built-in excuse, so keep them all. I think that's what they'll do.
Yeah, people are not going to like that result. We're going to take a break. It is a results-based business, and the results are the same again and again and again. When we come back, Joey Porter Jr., what will the results be with his dealings moving forward? Get into that next, right here on the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown. Well, it's time to talk peace, love, and pricing power, because car stock is going on now at all #1 Cochran locations. Get out-of-sight markdowns on more than 1,500 pre-owned vehicles, a minimum of $5,000 off overstock new inventory. And there's a lot of that. And the lowest lease specials and APRs of the summer. So don't space out on this opportunity. Shop Car Stock offers thousands of vehicles at Cochran.com. All right, Joey Porter Jr., Ray Fittipaldo, he still doesn't have a deal. Most people expect he will get one, but there's trade rumors coming out. I don't know how accurate those are. But if he wants what he wants and the Steelers have gone as far as they will go, what will happen?
Well, this is what Joey Porter has to decide. He has $30 million guaranteed coming his way next year on the franchise tag if the Steelers want to tag him. But he has to have the confidence that he can get through this season unscathed and not have a major injury. So that's really big for him this year. Tough decision for him. I got a feeling the Steelers are around $27, $28 million a year. And if Joey doesn't take that, he might have to play this out and look for the tag in March.
Yeah, Steelers are just going to wait this out. It's up to Joey Porter now. Like Ray said, either take the money now or face being hurt this year. They're going to tag him next year. I can almost guarantee you that. So you got 2 years worth of Joey Porter around. So he has to make that decision. I think as we get more towards September 13th, maybe Joey's number will start to come back to where the Steelers want it.
Well, where is that number now that Witherspoon's got $100 million guaranteed? Is it 70 million? Is it 80? Okay. Well, they both play the same position, Mark. We're not doing apples and oranges or donuts here. They're both cornerbacks, for crying out loud, and they're about the same age. So you're telling me Joey Porter Jr.'s people aren't using the Witherspoon contract as a way to angle for more money with the Steelers? They should be. If not, he should fire his agent.
His agent happens to be the same agent as Christian Gonzalez, and they're both waiting for a deal, which I find very interesting, too. So, real quick, give me one yes or no quick answer here, starting with you, Mark. Is there any chance he's traded?
No, zero.
Ray?
Zero.
Andrew?
What am I going to say now? These two insiders say zero. What am I going to say, 100%, Bob? Yeah, I'll say zero.
Round the clock one more time. Quick answer. If they decided to trade him, what kind of offer would they expect to go down that route. Mark?
Oh, the word I heard was 2 1s. So.
Yeah, it would have to be at least a 1 and probably a 2 or a 3, I would think.
Man, I would trade him for a 1, but that's just me.
Still looking for a quarterback that can help in those proceedings. All right, before we go, Daquan Wright. This is interesting. He went to the Browns as an undrafted free agent. He was told he's not going to be on that team. So he's decided now, and he's taken it to court, that he's going back to LSU to play again, even though he's already been through a professional camp, and LSU's, Lane Kiffin, Andrew, and Lane Kiffin was his coach at Ole Miss before that. So we have 1 minute left. What do you think is going to happen here? And is this right?
No, but it's going to open up Pandora's box, and Kiffin is the perfect slime ball to do it. I mean, he left a team during the college football playoff, so this is par for the course for him.
Yeah, where does it end? I mean, you thought it couldn't get any worse with the money being thrown around. Well, we were wrong. This is getting worse now, especially if he's allowed to go back to LSU.
Talk about team turmoil. How'd you like to be LSU's starting tight end right now, and then look at Lane Kiffin bringing in this guy to take your job?
And by the way, that guy who's currently there is supposed to be a top 15 project. So this, I don't know how that would play, but if he's going to get money to go back, it's more than he's making now, which is he's unemployed. But it still goes against everything. That's the state of college football, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be back right after this on the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown. It's been fun. We are done. Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate it. We'll do it again next Sunday night. By then, we're going to know who's on the Steeler 53-man roster. Final game Thursday, KDKA-TV. It's the Steelers at the Buffalo Bills at the new digs up there. That's going to do it for us. Thank you for joining us. We'll do it again next Sunday night and every Sunday night right here for the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown. Hope you have a great week.